Well, hello everyone. Well, it's day 10, Saturday, and I talked about pajamas yesterday. And Annie, this is for you. I'm in my pajamas. She thought it'd be a great idea to just show people what I was talking about. Hair's not curled, makeup's not on, I'm in my jammies. So there you are. This is for all of you that are home sitting in your pajamas. And I just want to say that I have been really blessed with the feedback that everybody's giving, that this is really helping. So I'm glad. I know a lot of this, for some of you that are been doing the work for a while, you know this is nothing special or nothing really new, but just us energetically coming together is wonderful. And this is where we need to be right now. Just putting thoughts out there in such a positive way. And I wanted to talk a little bit about why I have shells here. So you can see I have some really great shells. These are from some sacred sites all over the world. This was from Bimini, where they believe part of Atlantis went down. And this one too, I love this one with the spiral energy. And this one too, looks like a neck bone or something. And obviously the regular little coral shells. And then this was one that I took from Bimini and painted and put some crystals on here. But these two were made with the crystal in it to use almost like to generate energy when you're doing healing work. But look at this. I love this one. It's actually got a handle here and the crystals glued in there and have some amber here that when I'm working on someone I can use it. And believe it or not, I did not know what happened to these, and since I've been cleaning up a little bit, it'll be 4 years in May since I haven't had this center. I can't believe it. But I found these packed away. So yesterday, that's the beauty of cleaning out. You find things, it's like Christmas. So I found these, and when I was asking, why now? Why did I find these now? One of the things that came through loud and clear is working with the water energy, working with the oceans. So you'll see that that's why I've brought all the shells in to bring in that water energy. And I have this beautiful chalice here from Stefania. I'm giving a shout out to my friend Stefania who gave me this, which has water in it as part of our little ritual today. So the water, I want you to think about this. Water is emotion, right? We all know that. The water holds emotion. And Dr. Emoto did a study with this high volume microscope where he was able to really look at the water crystals and what happens. Some of you, I'm sure, most of you know who he was. He's passed now. But basically, what happens when we say something like love and hold the energy of the water here. And then he would take it a step further and just put a sticker on with the word love on a water bottle or a chalice of water. And he would watch with the microscope how the crystals formulated in such a beautiful pattern. But if he said some words, and I'm not going to say them because I have the water right here, if he said some words that were not positive, he saw how distorted these water crystals became. And so that takes it to a whole nother level. Think about that. If you are using your voice for the wrong reasons and putting out fear and negativity and hate, well, all of that is going to affect you. Now, when we stop and think about how much of a percentage our body has water in it, that makes total sense. Because when we think about dis-ease, and when our body is not in ease, what happens? So if somebody's in an abusive relationship, let's say, even if it's verbally abusive and they're saying things all the time, that's just going in, all into our own water system that they hold there. And eventually they can cause disease or whatever. So thinking about the oceans, the water, the streams, the ponds, everything. And I think it's fabulous what happened in Venice with the canal totally clearing up, the water, the animals coming back, the dolphins, the swans, the fish, everything coming back. I think that's great. And the water clearing. And everybody says, well, it's because the people haven't been out polluting. And that could be a big piece of it, but I personally believe prayer is another big piece of it. So don't underestimate the power of prayer to heal and clean things up. So I thought today, since I found the shells and when I sat with it in my morning meditation, it was like, bring the waterways in, because the water can help us to balance our own emotions. So if we're calling on the element of water, our waters that are out in the world, to help us at this time, to help it turn the tide in terms of people panicking, people's emotions of fear, anger, frustration, uncertainty, whatever it is, that we need to work with this. So that's what I want to do today. And when somebody was talking to me, I don't know, yesterday, I guess, and was talking about another part of the country that we're in lockdown. What a horrible phrase. When you think of lockdown, you think of somebody being in prison and being held against their will. But when I was meditating this morning, Spirit said, how about calling it the divine time out? Do you see how that changes things? I love that, the divine time out. It really does change things. When you think of Spirit giving us a time out in some way to regroup, to be in a better place, to kind of get ourselves together, I love that, the divine time out. So today, start using that. Use that phrase. Oh, we're in the divine time out, because that gives it a whole different meaning and a whole different energy. And if people are focused on that, it's like God came or Spirit came and said, all right, in order to do some cleanup on this planet, would you guys be willing to stay indoors and stay away from others and whatever for how many days? And I truly believe this is determined as to how well we go through this time. Are we listening? Are we doing what we feel we need to do? And I still have my purification candle going. So I love that. So we're going to do something different. Before I do what I want to do with the water, I'm going to do the cards and the messages. So this is the Water Crystal Oracle from Dr. Masaru Emoto. And so this is wisdom. That was the card for everybody for today, wisdom. And look at the beautiful snowflake-like crystal, water crystal. Isn't that beautiful? That is just, I mean, painting pictures. You couldn't paint something better than that. So when we think of wisdom, I'm going to look up what he says in here about wisdom. No matter what the language, the providence of nature itself does not change. So words which have the same meaning show similar forms. So there you are, wisdom. We're getting in touch with our own wisdom and what we need to do in order to heal right now. It's a good thing, it's a good thing I have a lot of decks, because my granddaughter one day was dusting for me, and I must have 60 decks, and she's telling me, you only need one deck. And I said, she goes, you don't use all these. I go, yeah, I do. So here gives me a wonderful opportunity to pull some of the ones out that I haven't used in a while. And one of those is the Spirit Messages. And this is by John Holland. Love his stuff. This one says, embrace the moment. And if you see it, it's a girl covering one of her eyes. It's very interesting. So what this says is, embrace this day, this very moment. Think positively today and repel any negative thoughts. Try not to judge yourself or others. This may be harder than you think. What is actually happening is that you're changing energy. We're placing this card in your hand for we feel the negative thoughts you're having about others and yourself. We understand that life can get you down and all the hard work you do every day to support yourself and others can be challenging. Don't let the outside world tarnish or dilute your brilliance. Remember, all thoughts create reality in the situations in your life. That's what I've been saying right along. Depending which direction we want to go in, kicking and screaming, or, I have a little saying that you can see the tractor trailer coming and you can stand there until you get hit by it, or you can step out of the way. This is one of those times. Step out of the way and make the best of it. Even thoughts are made up of energy, whether they're positive or negative. And when you think a thought, your aura will amplify it with the energy and put it out into the universe. By monitoring your thoughts, you'll have conscious control in shaping your day as well as your future. Learn to embrace the moment. If you're having a cup of tea, just drink your tea. If you're enjoying a meal, then just eat a meal. If you're walking, then just walk. Appreciate, focus, and be in the moment of what you're doing. By doing so, you'll remain in the powerful present. Well, that was a mouthful. That was really good because this was coming from messages from the other side, from all your loved ones. So just embrace the moment. The next deck is from the Oracle of E by Pam Grout and Colette Byron Reed. And this one says, hasta la vista, baby. And no, it's not what you think. So remember that song Queen Elsa sings in the Disney movie Frozen when she unleashes her magic? Well, if you didn't catch this animated flick, it's time to let it go. Walk away, and just like you never look back at the trash can you leave at the curb, don't give it a second chance. It's time now for new beginnings. Out with the old and in with the new. So isn't that awesome? Once again, letting go of things that no longer serve us. And the last one is from Colette Byron Reed, Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. And the card is the Spirit Whisperer, Divine Guidance and Higher Knowing. And she's underwater. Isn't that interesting? She's underwater and she's spitting out bubbles that are going to the surface. So this one says, as an ally, the Spirit Whisperer comes to you, heralding the miraculous and the inspired. She whispers guidance from the divine through your higher senses so you can hear her wisdom and know her love for you. She is committed to helping you intuit the next right action and steers you away from trouble. The Spirit Whisperer keeps you inspired to move forward, all knowing just in time the correct next step. She guides you to fulfill your highest purpose. When she appears, it's a sign of inspired ideas that with continual action lead to success. That's a very good omen. If your question is about a relationship, the Spirit Whisperer speaks of soul connections, past lives, great learning through mutual mirroring. She will whisper how long, how short, how deep, how sweet. There were soul bargains made even before you were both born, and an exploration is in order. You may move forward, but keep listening to the Spirit Whisperer for the lessons that the vulnerability of love brings. I want to stop here for a moment. Many of us have done this already before. This is a call to action that we're all being asked, that even if we're in our homes, we can do a lot of good. And the universe is saying the clarion call has gone out. And because it's gone out, what we're saying to you is this is the perfect time that we had to put, well, most of us had to put our jobs on hold or whatever. This is the perfect timing. So now where we're at, we need to just do what we do in whatever form it is, whether it's the rosary or prayer or whether it's shamanic clearing, whatever it is. There is no separation or divide unless you make it. So all of this goes out. Just like when we're saging, it goes out like smoke into the universe and allows us to be in a place of healing and cleansing. And, many may say, well, geez, I don't know what to do. Well, guess what? You do. You've done this before. In some other time, in some other place. We've all gathered through past existences and civilizations. And this time, it can be different. And this is why we're asking you to take the call to action and step up. Okay, it says, Challenger, the spirit whisperer warns that you're about to go astray and you need her guidance. Red flags are waving and you must pay attention, lest you find yourself cleaning up messes you didn't even know you've made. She challenges you to start again and trust your intuition. In time you will be back on track. On this occasion you can't possibly go wrong, since you're that much more aware of the possible changes you need to step away from. If this is about a relationship, you may be repeating something in your past that you don't need to relearn. Stay away, as this may end up a costly distraction. That said, lessons learned over and over make for great wisdom later. And I do want to talk about that for a moment, because what that is think of these other civilizations. I'm just going to take a sip here. When we're talking about Lemuria, Atlantis, especially Atlantis, the ocean, all the creatures in the ocean that tried to help, we did not hear the warnings. And everybody started having their own agenda. And as I'm saying this, maybe you are remembering at some level. And this is how we learn, just like a baby starts to walk. It's a process. Well, we're not babies anymore. If you're watching this, you're an older soul, and we're putting the call out soul to soul, heart to heart. We're putting it out, and we're in a place of saying, this is the time. We learned from the past and what we didn't do right. We are now here to take this home in the most positive way, to cleanse the planet, to cleanse its people in the positive, through prayer and divinity and unity. So, and I would really ask you to go into meditation as a way to connect with maybe some of those times in some of those places where you can be in a better place of saying, I know now. Just like a child burns his hand on the stove the first few times, then it's like, okay, I got that lesson. I know now. All right. So what we're going to do, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes down. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect with the energies of all the oceans, all the waterways, no matter how small or how large. We're going to ask that the streams, the ponds, the brooks, the rivers, and then going totally into the oceans. They're all connected, and the energy of that is connected. And so I'm going to ask Spirit and the keepers of the waterways in spirit and some of the guardians of the ocean to help us during this divine timeout. So I want you to imagine that you're standing on the shore of your favorite beach, favorite place to go. And I'm going to ask that it be the ocean, just because of the energy being larger of the ocean. And I'm going to call in Calypso. And the Calypso is the daughter of Father Neptune. And she is actually a master at transmuting emotions. And I call on Father Neptune, the ruler of tides and the ocean and the water. And I ask you to come in, and I want each one of us to imagine that we could just think anything that's bothering us, any emotional pain, any anger, sadness, frustration, uncertainty, whatever it is, that you can imagine that you're just shouting it out into the ocean. Just like that picture of the whisper, spirit whisper. And it goes into the ocean. And do it for everything you're feeling right now. Any fears, anything. And do it until you feel you've cleansed everything that's in your body, your emotional body, your physical body. And now you're going to ask for any water that's in your own body to be cleansed at this time. So any negative thoughts, any negative thoughts you have about the way your body looks or the way you feel, we're going to let that rise up to the surface, and imagine you could just take it and throw it into the ocean. Now don't be alarmed, because we are going to clean this up. It's not going to stay in the ocean. So when you've got that all up to the surface, we call on the triad of Father Neptune, Calypso, his daughter, and the Master Saint Germain with the violet consuming flame. And we ask that with the power of Neptune to turn the tides, we're going to see this in one moment, the violet flame going through the whole ocean, and imagining that all the damage that's been done to the waterways, the oceans, and everything, that the violet flame is able to go counterclockwise, just like I shared the other exercise the other day with you. We're going to see Saint Germain, and I'm putting out that this is not something that's going to happen to the physical waterways. They are not going to start turning or whatever. We are just doing the energetics of this. So our intention is for the energetics of all the water in us, the emotional balance, and all the waters and waterways to be cleansed of this. So we're going to invoke Saint Germain in your violet consuming flame. We ask you to come in now and spin all this waterways counterclockwise, to spin anything that is no longer serving us, that we've given up, And we ask the Calypso to clean up our personal emotional stuff that we put in your ocean. And we ask that Father Neptune clear out all the pollution and anything that any of us have done to add to the ocean and what needs to be cleaned up. And I can actually feel this revving up and going counterclockwise. Counterclockwise being that that's what we're cleaning up and out. Just give it another minute. You might even feel it even in your own body. I'm feeling that in the solar plexus and the lower chakras. Okay, so we're going to ask Saint Germain to stop spinning counterclockwise, and we're going to go clockwise. And now we're going to imagine that this beautiful violet flame is going through every ounce of water anywhere on this planet, that it is cleansing and correcting any of the damage that man has done to pollute all of the waterways. So here we go. We're going to see Saint Germain spinning everything clockwise, along with Neptune and his trine, guiding it very safely, and Calypso working with us to spin our own water in our body clockwise. It's interesting, I am getting an image of a lot more water generating. It's weird. It's like the mass of the water has expanded in some way is what I'm seeing. And I want you to visualize the oceans being a beautiful color. And I want you to visualize all the pollution and the toxicity and the trash and everything else being gone. And I want you to imagine the animals coming back, all the sea creatures coming back and feeling like they want to be in that energy. So we can see it as a magnet calling back all the whales, the sea turtles, everything that lives in the ocean. And seeing the beautiful blue colors that they once were. And when you think of this, remember, this is the same water that has been on our planet since the beginning. It's the same water. So when you think of all the information that the water contains, it's pretty amazing. All right, so we're going to stop that Saint Germain from spinning the beautiful violet light. And we thank Saint Germain, and we thank Calypso, and we thank Father Neptune for all that was done today. And I thank all of you. You may open your eyes. This is something you can do over and over again. But remember to go clockwise at the end and fill it all up with light. truly, from my heart to yours, a big thank you on whatever you're doing to help at this time. And remember the divine timeout. Thank you.